Rated X did not sound like a film for me, but I'm watching every Charlie Sheen film, so I gave it a go. And actually, while it's never going to be my favourite film, I genuinely found this to be quite impressive. This was released in 2000. It's directed by Emilio Estevez, written by Norman Snider, Dan Hollander, and Anne Meredith. And we have a cast including Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. And I'm going to read the description from IMDb, but this is potentially a spoiler. This is based on a true story. It's based on the lives of two individuals, and I'll talk more about them in a moment. So this is potentially going to spoil what it's about, or ultimately what happens, but at the same time, this is the narrative and it's based on the true story, so this is the journey that you're going to be on, and this is the information I had going into it. And Letterboxd says, based on the true story of Jim and Artie Mitchell, two brothers who entered the porn industry in the early 60s after creating such legendary films as Behind the Green Door and Inside Marilyn Chambers, they later became addicted to drugs and began a downward spiral leading to bankruptcy and murder. That's quite a journey. And I read that and thought, okay, I'm watching this for Charlie Sheen, but also that sounds like it's going to be utterly insane as a story. And it is really, really fascinating. I will say, I know absolutely nothing about James and Artie Mitchell. I had never heard of them before, so I have no idea how accurate the characters are to the true individuals, but certainly the performances were very effective, very engaging. And again, the story, I don't know how accurate it is, but it is based on the book X-Rated by David McCumber. I'd imagine that there's a lot of truth in this. But if anybody has any thoughts on that, if you know anything that's maybe not completely accurate, please feel free to let me know. But I found it to be really fascinating. I will admit, had it not been based on truth, I would have liked it a little less, because in general, a lot of those buzzwords in that description don't really appeal to me. But because that's based on truth, I found it to be quite fascinating. And I feel like it's so easy to feel engaged with the story. And I really didn't think that was going to be the case. The characters are really fascinating, really well written. Again, not sure how accurate they are, but within the context of the film, they definitely were really interesting. We have some great performances, great music and camera work. The costumes look great. It was a lot better than I expected based on personal preferences. And if, like me, you are maybe a fan of somebody in the cast, but you don't really think this will be a film for you, I'd say maybe give it a go. It really surprised me, and I guess that's a sign of a solid film, because if a film I shouldn't care for is something that I ended up finding really fascinating, I'd say that that's actually a pretty decent thing, and I think it's done a good job there. For context, it has 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb across 3.9 thousand reviews and ratings. I don't know if that's not a bad rating. Anything below 6 generally means that some people really don't like it and most people think it's okay. And I don't know if that's because it's maybe not the most accurate, or if people just don't like how the narrative was handled. I'd certainly love to know your thoughts. But I went in with no expectations, other than, I guess, the expectation that I wasn't really going to love it. And I found it to be really fascinating and definitely a pleasant surprise in some ways. Do I recommend it? Yes. Will it be for everybody? No. I think there will be times when it's not even a film for me, but on this occasion, it worked well. And if it sounds like a film for you, then I'd say it might be one that's worth watching.